Billionaire discovers bruised girl in snow, her heartfelt whisper reveals an amazing journey. Ethan Harper hadn't meant to return to his small, snow-blanketed hometown. As a self-made billionaire, he had fought hard to escape his past. The memories of poverty and struggle buried deep beneath layers of wealth. Yet here he was, trudging through the familiar streets, soaking in the sights of quaint shops and warm homes adorned with festive lights. The crisp winter air stung his cheeks, but it couldn't mask the heaviness in his heart. Friends from his childhood had fallen by the wayside, their lives interrupted by a system that barely cared. He felt their lingering judgment, an echo of the old town's prejudices that lingered like snow on the ground. That evening, restless and untethered, he ventured out for a walk. The town's snow-laden park, usually bustling this time of year, sat eerily silent under the moonlight. His footsteps crunched against the snow, each sound breaking the stillness. Then, something caught his eye, a small figure partially hidden beneath a snowdrift. Panic gripped his heart. Was she hurt? He rushed to kneel beside the girl, realizing she couldn't have been more than 11. Her skin was bruised, her breath puffing in fragile clouds as she shivered violently against the cold. Ethan's chest tightened as he scooped her up gently, feeling her fragile frame against his chest. As he sought warmth, he met her wide, fearful eyes. "You don't know what it's like," she whispered, her voice tiny but filled with a haunting wisdom. He carried her to his car, heart racing. Mia was an orphan, he learned, abandoned by a world too busy to notice. Her words echoed Ethan's own childhood, a reminder of his own fight against the odds, the struggles he thought he had left behind. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Ethan learned more about Mia, the contrasts in their worlds became painfully apparent. He, a billionaire, floating through life on the wings of fortune, while she struggled for simple warmth and acknowledgement. Yet, that tiny flicker of hope in her eyes was infectious. They didn't just find each other. They found purpose. But Ethan quickly realized that love and connection were complicated under the weight of societal expectations. Whispers began to follow him through the town as they saw him with Mia, the little girl who didn't fit their ideas of success or worth. Friends from his past looked on with eyebrows raised and mockery lacing their laughter. Those judgments clawed at him, filling him with doubt. Could he really challenge everything he had come to know, everything that made him a success? The pull of Mia's fierce spirit was stronger than the push from the town. But time would tell if that would be enough. As they both stepped into a new chapter of life, Mia's laughter clashed with the hushed gossip around them. Ethan stood at a crossroads, teetering between helping her or shielding himself from a world that seemed determined to keep them apart. The holiday lights twinkled overhead, casting sparks of hope against the cold New England winter. The journey ahead promised challenges, a battle against not just an indifferent world but against himself. The question lingered. Would he rise to the occasion or retreat into the shadows of privilege? Ethan's car slid quietly through the streets, the engine purring softly against the blanket of snow. Mia huddled in the passenger seat, her arms wrapped tightly around herself, trying to absorb the warmth radiating from the heaters. Ethan cast glances her way, each one a reminder of the bruises visible on her skin, each one a whisper of the pain she had endured. "Where will you go?" he asked, his voice softer than he intended. He wasn't quite sure what would happen next. He wanted to pull her close and protect her from the world, all of it, the judgment, the indifference. Yet, he knew he couldn't keep her hidden away like a secret. Mia shrugged, her small frame trembling slightly. "Anywhere but here," she replied, her voice barely breaking the silence. You don't understand. Ethan did understand, more than she realized. He had faced the same dismissive glances, the careless remarks. His wealth had shielded him in many ways, but it couldn't erase the past or the fear tied to his childhood. I do know, he whispered. Maybe not in the same way, but I do. You deserve more than this. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears, and he felt his chest constrict at the sight. He pulled into a deserted parking lot lit only by the flickering light above. Turning the engine off, he faced her fully. Mia, I want to help you, he insisted, but I need you to help me understand. She met his gaze, a spark of defiance flickering in her eyes. People are cruel. They see me as nothing, she said. The fire in her words sparked something within him, a desire to fight against that cruelty, to show her that even in a world of indifference, compassion could still bloom like snowdrops peeking through the frost. I won't let anyone see you as nothing, Ethan vowed, a fresh sense of determination swirling in his gut. You have so much to offer. I promise we'll find a way through this together. For the first time, a semblance of a smile crossed Mia's lips. The shadows still lingered, but perhaps there was a sliver of trust growing between them, a fragile bond forged in their shared pain. Over the next several days, Ethan and Mia quietly wove a new existence together within the walls of the once-abandoned childhood home he had inherited. Scents of paint and fresh starts filled the rooms as they transformed it from neglect to a nurturing space. At times, their laughter filled the air, a sound he had forgotten existed in that house. But each time they stepped outside, the world hammered down on their small bubble of joy, reminding them of the judgments and whispers that trailed them like shadows. Ethan's patience wore thin as glares and murmurs greeted them at every turn. When will you stop this? A former colleague sneered after another weekend spent shopping for groceries with Mia. You're a billionaire, Harper. You shouldn't be playing savior. Those words cut deeper than he expected. Mia's fingers tightened around his as they walked away, her worry palpable. Maybe I'm making it worse, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. No, Ethan exclaimed, kneeling to meet her gaze. You're helping me too. We're in this together. Yet the weight of his social circle's expectations pressed down heavy on him. The whispers grew louder, the laughter sharper. Would he ever have the courage to defy their judgments? As the holiday season loomed closer, and the town buzzed with cheer and festivities, Ethan found himself swept up in a storm of conflicting emotions. His own ties to wealth dangled uncomfortably against the raw authenticity he felt with Mia. In the glittering glow of the Christmas lights, Ethan stared at Mia, who was now peering out the window, her face illuminated by soft, golden light. Beneath the holiday cheer, a storm brewed within him. He too began to wonder. Was his heart heavy with the shackles of privilege, or was there a way to break free? And as he mulled over the turmoil brewing around them, he caught the sight of a familiar face crossing the street, a face from his past that could change everything. Would confronting that past finally help him understand what it really meant to protect Mia? Ethan's heart raced as he recognized the figure walking toward them, shrouded in the soft glow of holiday lights. It was Jessica, his first love and a woman who had left a bittersweet taste in his life's narrative. She looked older, worn by her own battles, but the tilt of her head and the snap of her hair were still undeniably the same. Mia, stay in the car, he blurted, instinctively wanting to shield her from the person who once meant so much to him. Why? Mia's voice was steady, but there was an edge of unease. Ethan didn't answer. He stepped outside, the cold air biting at his skin, but it couldn't compare to the ache he felt at seeing Jessica again. He didn't know if he was ready for this reunion. The memories they shared weighed heavily on him. Ethan, she called, surprise weaving through her tone. I didn't expect to see you here. He forced a smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. Yeah, it's been a while. Jessica's gaze flicked to the car. Is that Mia? Her name is Mia, yes. He hesitated, struggling to find the right words. She's important to me. Looks like you're playing the hero now, Jessica said, a hint of sarcasm lacing her voice. Ethan clenched his jaw, irritation rising. You don't know the half of it. She needs someone in her corner. Just like you needed someone? She shot back. Don't forget it was you who chose to walk away. Her words stung, but he had to find the strength to deflect them. This was not about his past, it was about Mia's future. He took a deep breath. Things are different now, Jess. I want to be better. You always were a dreamer, Ethan Harper, she said, biting her lip as if to stifle a mix of emotions. But dreams don't always pay the bills, or heal the past. He watched as her eyes glimmered under the lights, his heart tightening. You're one to talk. I didn't think you would be here in this town. Jessica shrugged, a hint of vulnerability flickering across her features. I have my reasons. But we aren't talking about me. How's that new life treating you? At least we're both trying for something, he replied, glancing nervously back at the car. Mia was watching intently, her expression a mix of curiosity and concern. He couldn't let this encounter unravel everything he had fought for. Don't let the world convince you it's all sunshine and rainbows because of your money, Jessica warned. People can still hurt you, and you're playing with fire bringing Mia into your life. Maybe that's a risk I'm willing to take. He shot back, frustration boiling inside him. He turned to walk back to the car, but Jessica's voice stopped him. Ethan, don't let guilt cloud your judgment. Remember why you left. He hesitated before opening the car door, the weight of her words echoing in his mind. Mia, let us go, he said, his voice steadier than he felt. As they drove away, silence enveloped them, thick and heavy. The night was still alive with the sounds of laughter and holiday cheer, but it felt foreign. Ethan's heart raced not with the excitement of a festive season, but with the unresolved tension sprouting from their encounter. What did she mean by those words? Mia finally asked, her voice small. It's nothing, just someone from my past, he replied, but he felt the lie sting. Mia needed him to be honest, but he didn't know where to start. He glanced at her, and her expression revealed the deeper question brewing beneath the surface. What did he really owe to his past? As they drove further away from the town and its swirling lights, Ethan's chest tightened. Somehow, Jessica's presence had ignited a fear in him. What if the choices he had made were keeping him from his true path to protect Mia? Just as he pulled into their driveway, a chilling thought seized him. Was he brave enough to confront his past so that he could truly save her? The car engine ticked annoyingly as he sat there, contemplating. In that moment of indecision, something in the distance caught his eye, a flickering light in the thick of the woods bordering their home. And as curiosity tugged at his heart, he whispered, "What was that?" Ethan's breath caught in his throat as he squinted into the darkness, the flickering light dancing like a distant star. He wasn't sure what to make of it, but there was something magnetic about it. Dad? Mia's voice pulled him back from his thoughts. She was leaning in closer, concern etched across her young face. What is it? It's probably nothing, he replied, but he could feel a twinge of unease settling in his stomach. Just a trick of the light, I think. But he couldn't shake the feeling. The woods always held secrets, whispers of his own childhood adventures and fears. Maybe this was just a remnant of that, or perhaps it was something else entirely. Can we check it out? Mia urged, her eyes wide with excitement. There was a spark of curiosity in her voice, an innocence that tugged at his heartstrings. He hesitated, wrestling with the decision. On one hand, it felt responsible to stay safe, to protect her. On the other, it was hard to ignore how much this moment mirrored the thrill of exploration he once loved. Let us just take a quick look, he finally said, opening the car door with a creak that echoed in the stillness. With Mia in tow, he stepped into the cold air, the ground crunching beneath their feet. The woods loomed around them, thick with pines and shadows. The glow flickered again, and this time, it pulsed with a strange urgency. Do you see anything? Mia whispered, her eyes darting around as if something might jump out at them. No, just keep close, he cautioned, scanning their surroundings. They walked cautiously, inching closer to the light. As they rounded a thick tree trunk, the source emerged, a small campfire crackling in a clearing. A solitary figure huddled beside it. Mia, stay behind me, he ordered softly, instinct kicking in. The shape shifted, and as they grew nearer, the figure lifted their head. A young girl, perhaps Mia's age, with tangled hair and smudged cheeks, stared back at them. Tears glistened in her eyes as she fumbled for something to say. Please help me. She choked out, her voice trembling like the flame. Ethan felt a pang of empathy, the girl's fear mirroring the same feelings he had when faced with his own past. What happened? Where is your family? The girl shook her head, shivering. I got lost. I was trying to find my way home, but I can't. Looking down at Mia, he saw a blend of concern and determination on her face. It tugged at him, a fierce desire to help someone in need. We can help you, he said, his voice steady despite the whirlwind of uncertainty in his heart. Mia stepped forward, her small hand reaching for the girl. What's your name? Lucy, came the barely audible response. Okay, Lucy, Mia said, warmth radiating from her certainty. You're safe now. Ethan watched as they exchanged earnest glances, the connection blossoming between them. It was a moment that felt significant, forming bonds stronger than the very fear that held him back. But as he began to assess the situation, the flickering light became a symbol of everything he had been running from his past, the decisions he made, and the promise he had made to himself to protect Mia above all else. In the middle of this, that dreadful thought resurfaced. Was he really prepared to bring another troubled past into their lives? Mia's hand tightened around Lucy's, their shared innocence a stark contrast to his turmoil. As he opened his mouth to speak, Lucy's gaze bore into him, pleading, Please don't leave me. The weight of her words settled heavily on his heart, forcing him to confront what it really meant to be a protector. His mind raced with possibilities. The echoes of Jessica's warning still hung in the air, but in that moment, he realized that maybe facing the past was essential not just for him, but for Mia too. He finally breathed out. Let us figure this out together. As they turned back toward the car, a howl echoed through the night, sharp and chilling. It pierced the atmosphere, a forewarning that their night was far from over. What would he uncover about Lucy and himself now that he was entangled again in the mess of complicated emotions? Ethan froze at the sound, the primal echo reverberating in the depths of the forest. It didn't just chill his bones. It draped a thick layer of dread over the three of them. The noise seemed to resonate from some ancient layer of the woods, igniting a primal fear in the pit of his stomach. His heart raced. Mia, ever the brave one, squeezed Lucy's hand tighter. Ethan could see the fear flash in her eyes, but she fought against it, her determination unwavering. She looked to him, silently asking for reassurance. Let us just stay calm, he murmured, but even to his own ears, the words sounded weak. Is it a wolf? Lucy whispered, her voice barely carrying over the crackling of the fire. Ethan shook his head. No, probably nothing like that. But even as he spoke, he felt the air grow heavier. Something dangerous lurked nearby, and he had to decide fast. Shouldn't we get back to the car? Mia asked, her voice trembling just a bit. Ethan looked at the girls and then, instinctively, back toward the darker depths of the woods. That flickering light felt like both a beacon and a trap, drawing them in while simultaneously beckoning danger. Yeah, let us go. We'll get Lucy home, he said, mustering the calmest voice he could find. The three of them began to back away slowly. Just as they turned, the howl echoed again, this time louder and closer. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest. It wasn't just the howl. There was something in the rustling shadows, a flicker of movement that made every hair on the back of his neck stand on end. Dad, what was that? Mia whispered, void of her earlier boldness. Just keep moving, he urged, trying to sound authoritative even as the unease coiled tighter around him. As they walked briskly, the weight of Lucy's lost gaze tugged at Ethan. What if we can't find your family? He dared to ask, trying to keep his voice steady. Lucy paused, her brow furrowing as she glanced at him, caught off guard. I can't let them find me, she said, and Ethan felt the air grow even thicker. Her eyes darted like startled birds, reflecting something deeper, something he couldn't grasp yet. Why not? Mia asked, curious, and Ethan winced at her unwitting bravery. There's bad people, Lucy stammered, suddenly pulling away from both of them. Fear twisted her small features. Can't go back. Before Ethan could respond, A flash of white caught his eye against the backdrop of the trees. His gut twisted as he realized it wasn't just shadows. A figure emerged, blending with the night, a silhouette moving with grace and intent. "Mia, stay close," he barked. His instincts screamed at him that time was running out. "Mister, what is happening?" Lucy trembled, her eyes darting around. He wasn't entirely sure. "We need to run." The outline moved again, faster this time. Ethan's heart thudded as he guided Mia and Lucy into a sprint, adrenaline surging. "Where?" Mia shouted over the crush of leaves beneath their feet. "Back to the car. We're almost there," he urged, not daring to look back. And just as they broke through the clearing, Lucy shouted, "Wait, we can't just leave." Ethan skidded to a halt just short of the car, breathless. "What do you mean? You'll be safe with us." "Not if they find me." Lucy's voice cracked, terror spilling from her eyes. Ethan took a deep breath. He needed to know the truth before they moved any further. "Why are they after you?" The forest felt alive with their uncertainty, echoes lingering, questions hanging heavily in the air. And in that moment, with darkness closing in, Ethan couldn't help but wonder how much further this unexpected journey would take them, and just what awaited them at the end of it. Ethan's heart raced as he looked into Lucy's pleading eyes. He didn't want to think about the shadow in the woods, but more importantly, he was terrified of leaving the girl behind. "Lucy, please just tell us why. We can help you," he begged, his voice barely above a whisper. She hesitated, glancing back at the dark trees where danger crouched. They hurt me. I ran away." The words hung between them like fragile glass, ready to shatter at any moment. Mia's grip around Lucy's hand tightened. "Who? Why? Can't say. I can't let them find me," Lucy replied, her breath quickening. The panic in her eyes grew palpable, and Ethan could feel it pulsing through the air. He thought of the world outside the woods, of comfort and safety, but with each second of indecision, that world seemed to recede just a little further away. "Lucy, listen. We won't let anyone hurt you again," Ethan said, his voice steadying. "But we really need to figure this out together." A flicker of hope sparked in her eyes. "You promise?" she asked, her voice quivering. "I promise," Ethan replied fiercely. Even as doubt lingered in him, he knew he had to stay strong for them all. Mia took a step forward, breaking the tension. "You can come with us. We can figure something out." Her face had shifted, moved by Lucy's vulnerability, and there was fresh determination in her gaze. As they locked gazes, the air seemed to thicken with unspoken trust. They weren't just three scared souls anymore. They were allies, bound together by the urgency that filled the clearing. Suddenly, the sound of snapping branches echoed in the distance, pulling Ethan back to the reality of their situation. The danger was drawing closer, and they needed to decide fast. "Okay, here's the plan," Ethan said, squeezing Mia's shoulder. "We get to the car, lock the doors, and call for help. We'll figure it out from there." Lucy nodded, regret flickering in her eyes. "But what if they find you, too?" Ethan swallowed hard. "They won't, promise." He could feel the weight of her fears mixing with his own, and it twisted inside him, sharpening his instinct to protect. "Let us go then," Mia urged, a spark of enthusiasm breaking the suffocating tension. Now, they began to sprint toward the car, the sound of their own footsteps drowning out the ominous rustling behind them. As they burst into the clearing, Ethan's heart leaped when he saw the car's headlights flickering like a lighthouse in the storm. Just a few more steps. Just a bit further, but as they approached the vehicle, a figure emerged from the shadows, stepping directly into their path, illuminated by the beams of light. Ethan skidded to a halt, instincts roaring. His heart thundered as he faced the man, tall and imposing. The world around him stilled. Going somewhere? The figure smirked, eyes gleaming with malice. Ethan felt Mia press closer to him, her fear palpable. "Run," he shouted, propelling them forward. But Lucy stood still, a solemn look crossing her face. "Wait, I know him." The atmosphere shifted, tension snapping like a tightly pulled bowstring, and for the first time that night, Ethan felt true fear. He had just fought to save Lucy from the darkness, only to discover it loomed closer than he had anticipated. "Do you know him?" He managed to choke out, dread coursing through him. Lucy's eyes darted back to Ethan, and he could see the balance of trust and fear tear at her. Yes, one of the bad people," she stammered, and in that moment, all their hopes hinged on her next words. "What happens now?" Ethan wondered, the weight of the dark woods pressing in against them once more. Ethan's breath caught in his throat, his mind racing. The imposing figure pushed forward, the shadows deepening around him as he crossed the threshold between safety and a darkness Ethan now recognized all too well. "Lucy!" he snapped, trying to urge her into action, but she stood frozen, as if glued to the earth beneath her. The fear radiating from her threatened to engulf them both, and in that moment, Ethan understood her hesitation. This was someone from her past, a face that perhaps loomed larger than anything else. Mia shifted nervously beside him, her voice trembling. "What do we do?" "He is blocking our way." Just give me a second," Lucy whispered, her wide eyes exploring the man's expression. "Lucy," Ethan said firmly but quietly, "you don't have to face him. We can find another way." The urgency of the moment churned in his stomach, feeling as if time was slipping away. She was still staring, and it felt like the seconds elongated into endless silence as the man leaned slightly forward. "You've led a rather interesting life, haven't you, Lucy?" he taunted, the corners of his lips curling into a sinister smile. "You never could outrun your past, could you?" Ethan felt anger flare up inside him. "You stay away from her," he shouted, stepping in front of Lucy instinctively, fists clenching at his sides. But the man merely chuckled, his voice smooth as silk but laced with malice. "You think protecting her will do any good?" "Enough!" Mia burst forth, her voice filled with surprising strength. "You don't scare us." The man glanced at Mia, almost intrigued. "You think 3 scared children can challenge me?" "Children?" Ethan spat, his resolve solidifying. "We aren't afraid of you." He realized they needed a plan to take control of the situation. The fear that had gripped him was shifting to something else, a determination to not let Lucy fall back into that world of shadows. "Lucy, just tell us what you want to do," he urged, his gaze flickering between her and the man. "We'll stick together no matter what." The glimmer of hope in Lucy's expression ignited. "I need to confront him." An icy chill slid down Ethan's spine. "No," he shook his head violently. "We can outsmart him. We can run. We don't have to engage with him." For a moment, the two stood in a standoff, uncertainty reflected in their eyes as Lucy weighed their options. "He has something of mine, something that could hurt others," she whispered urgently. "I can't let him take it back." Ethan's heart sank. The stakes were higher than he had realized. This wasn't just about escaping. They were fighting for something Lucy deemed far more precious. "Okay, we'll face him," Ethan said, voice steady yet carrying the tremors of doubt. "Together." The figure narrowed his eyes, amusement dancing across his features. "Oh, this is going to be fun." Suddenly, Ethan's thoughts raced. How could they turn this around? He remembered the delayed start of the car, the beeping unlocking system that could be triggered with a single click of Mia's phone in her pocket. "Mia," the car Ethan started. But before he could finish, the earth trembled as branches splintered further behind him. "Now!" Mia screamed, launching into action. With an eerie grin, the man stepped forward, a predator eager to corner its prey. In a heartbeat, the illusion of bravery cracked and shattered. Ethan and Lucy darted for the car, Mia following closely. Heart pounding, he fumbled with the keys while scanning the trees, conscious of their recent visitor. And then, without warning, Lucy stopped dead in her tracks, her expression shifting to dread and recognition. "He is not alone," she breathed, the weight of her words dragging with them shadows of despair. "What do you mean?" Ethan asked, fear jolting his heart. Lucy motioned to the deep woods, a new horror dawning on all of them. Their coming, the urgency rose like a tidal wave, and Ethan's guts twisted with fear as realization settled like a stone. The night was far from over, and the shadows were drawing closer, whispering threats he could feel on his skin. "Get in," he yelled, determination, flooding his veins. But as they piled into the car, Ethan knew they were racing against time and something far more sinister than they had ever expected. What had they awakened? And would Lucy's past consume them all? Ethan slammed the car door shut behind them, adrenaline propelling him to action. He thrust the keys into the ignition, his hands trembling. The engine coughed to life, an echoing roar in the oppressive silence that surrounded them. "Mia, hit the lock," Ethan shouted, urgency pouring out of him. Mia's small fingers fumbled with the phone, her face pale as the dread of their predicament washed over them. She hit the button, and the car's locks clicked into place, a small barrier against the encroaching darkness outside. "Go, go, go," Ethan pressed, his heart thrumming in sync with the revving engine. Lucy's eyes were glued to the windshield. "Yes, coming," she cried, but Ethan didn't dare look. His focus was solely on the road, scanning the woods for any movement. The trees loomed like an army of giants, their twisted branches casting menacing shadows as if they were reaching out for them. With a surge of speed, he threw the car into gear, tires screeching against the gravel as they jolted forward. The night stretched before them, the road almost a tunnel leading away from terror. But a shiver ran through Ethan. His stomach churned with a realization. They might have escaped one threat, but how many more lurked in the dark? "Did you really think you could escape that easily?" The man's voice floated into the car like a wicked breeze, smooth and mocking. Ethan's breath hitched. Lucy's face was a canvas of fear and determination. "What does he want?" she whispered, as if afraid to give voice to the dark thoughts swirling between them. The shadows seemed to swell around them, pressing closer with each heartbeat. "He's got something of mine," Lucy reiterated, her voice firm now, despite the tremor. "I can't let him have it back. It's too dangerous." Mia turned in her seat, eyes wide. "What do you mean? What is it?" Lucy paused, the weight of unspoken truths heavy in the air like smoke. "It's a file. A digital one. Evidence of a deal gone wrong. Something that could ruin people, powerful people. If he gets it, he'll hurt innocent lives." Her voice flickered, vulnerability surfacing. "I'm the only one who can stop it." Ethan's heart sank deeper. This was bigger than fear. This was about lives, futures, and responsibilities. "So what do we do?" he asked, voice steady as he fought the rising chaos inside him. Lucy turned to him, and something in her eyes shifted. A strength emerged, ignited by purpose and the bond he knew was forming even in darkness. "We have to go back. We need to confront him. I can't run away again." "But he'll hurt you," Ethan protested, apprehensive dread creeping back in as the harrowing implications hit him. "No," Lucy countered, her steely gaze unwavering. "He already has." Ethan glanced in the side mirror and saw a figure watching them from the shadows, a silhouette against moonlight. He felt a cold grip on his heart. Time was running out. "Lucy, please, do you trust me?" Her question silenced him. He looked into her eyes, searching for a flicker of certainty amid the encroaching shadow surrounding them. "I do," he said quietly, feeling the fragile bond they shared harden with every word. "Then we confront him together," she declared, voice rising in strength. The decision settled over Ethan like a mantle of warmth and determination. If running was an option, they'd run together. If confronting was the only way, they'd face the storm side by side. "Okay," he whispered, terrified but resolute. "But we have to be smart about it." As they drove back towards the forest, he felt the weight of their past decisions pressing down. They were stepping back into the very shadows they had tried to escape. But there was one thing he knew. They would face whatever came next with their strength intertwined. And then, as if the night itself was listening, the trees parted ahead, revealing a path leading straight toward the heart of shadows. "What if it all goes wrong?" Mia whispered like a ghostly echo. Ethan's grip tightened on the wheel. "Then we'll make it right." But the question lingered, would the darkness swallow them whole this time? Or could they emerge unscathed with the light of truth guiding the way? The car rolled over the unpaved path, the tires crunching noisily over gravel and twigs. Ethan's heartbeat thundered in his ears, as he drove deeper into the woods, the trees closing in around them like prison bars. He stole a glance at Lucy, who stared straight ahead, her jaw set tight. Mia clutched her phone, the glow illuminating her face, revealing wide eyes that mirrored Ethan's own anxiety. Just a little further, Ethan murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, as if afraid the very air would betray them. He could feel the chill of the night creeping into the car, heavy and oppressive. What if he's waiting for us? Mia's voice cracked, fear spilling over. He won't be expecting us to come back, Lucy said, her voice carrying a firmness that belied her own fear. That gives us an advantage. The shadows danced around them as they continued down the dirt road, the faint sound of a rustling breeze mixing with the low rumble of the engine. Ethan felt the weight of Lucy's resolve anchoring him, but doubt gnawed at him like an insatiable hunger. What if confronting this man proved to be a mistake? They reached a fork in the path, the left leading toward a clearing that Ethan recalled from earlier. The right veered deeper into darkness, a more treacherous route. Which way? He asked, uncertainty creeping into his tone. The clearing, Lucy decided. That's where it started. Ethan turned left, and the car lurched as it hit a bump. They slid to a stop in the clearing, headlights illuminating a scene that felt frozen in time. Memories of their last encounter collided with the present, the air thick with tension. The night felt alive, palpable with danger. There's no turning back now, Ethan said, taking a deep breath. He reached for the door handle, heart racing. Let us do this. Mia shifted nervously in her seat, her fingers digging into the fabric as if to anchor herself in place. What if he knows we're here? He doesn't know we're coming, Lucy affirmed, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. Remember why we're here. It's not just for us. It's for everyone who could be hurt by that file. Ethan glanced at Lucy, admiration swelling within him. Inside the chaos, he saw a young woman determined to confront her past. Okay, let us protect that future, he whispered, and they exited the car. A cold breeze swept through the clearing, rustling the leaves as if whispering secrets of what lay ahead. Ethan felt the gnawing tension of the forest around him, shadows stretching long and dark. Stay close to me, he instructed as they walked toward the tree line. The branches towered above, twisted and gnarled, echoes of the dangers that lurked within the depths. As they stepped into the underbrush, a low snicker pierced the silence around them, a chilling reminder of a lurking presence. Well, look who decided to return. The voice called out, laced with condescension. Ethan's stomach turned, recognition igniting dread. Show yourself. Lucy shot back, stepping forward as if her defiance could shield them from harm. Ethan's heart raced. No turning back, he reminded himself. He flicked the flashlight from his pocket, illuminating the darkness ahead. Do you think I'm scared of the light? The figure emerged, a smirk painted across his face, eyes glinting like shards of broken glass. Lucy's face blanched, but she stood her ground. You'll be afraid of what I have to say, she challenged, fists clenched at her sides. Ethan's pulse quickened. This was it, the moment that could change everything. But he couldn't shake the looming question that engulfed his mind. Would the face-off free them, or would it entrap them further into the web of darkness? Just then, Mia tugged at his sleeve, her eyes wide with terror. Ethan, what if before Mia could finish? The man's laughter spilled into the night, cruel and derisive. You think you're ready for what's coming? Think again. Ethan's breath caught. The shadows were closing in fast. Would they have the strength to confront the storm they had chosen to face? Or would they find themselves lost forever in its chaos? Ethan tried to steady his breathing as the figure stepped out from behind the trees, eyes glinting with malice. The man looked more than prepared, a predator playing with prey. He could feel Lucy's resolve beside him, anchored but quivering, and Mia clung to his arm. The weight of their fears hung heavily in the air, tension crackling like static before a storm. We're not afraid of you, Lucy declared, stepping forward, her voice unwavering despite the quiver in her frame. Oh really? Then you must not understand just how dangerous I can be. The man leaned closer, a smug grin tugging at his lips. You have no idea what you're up against. But that file you think is your weapon? It's your downfall. Ethan felt a surge of protectiveness. We won't let you hurt anyone else. Not again. His own heart hammered against his ribcage, but he stood tall, channeling strength from Lucy and Mia. The man merely laughed, darkly. You think you can just fix everything? You're just kids playing in a world of adults. But we're not alone, Lucy responded, her courage unfurling like a new banner catching the wind, spurred by a sense of justice. We have each other, and together we can expose the truth. Surprisingly, the man faltered for a moment, annoyance etching across his features. Truth? You think truth matters to people like me? You're out of your league. Ethan exchanged glances with Mia, who looked up at him with wide eyes, a mix of fear and hope. What do we do now? She whispered. We fight. Ethan felt that fierceness growing within him, pushing him to take a risk. Lucy, do you still have the file? Always, she said, determination lighting up her expression, and Ethan understood then. Lucy was ready to take a stand, and no threat would sway her from that mission. Let us expose him, Ethan urged, growing bolder. Mia, get ready to record everything. Mia nodded, her small fingers flying over her phone screen. The man narrowed his gaze, frustration boiling beneath the surface. You think you can just stop right there? Ethan interrupted, a surge of adrenaline taking hold. You don't have power over us. Suddenly, the woods stirred, and the wind picked up, swirling around them as if nature itself rallied behind their courage. Do you really think this is enough? The man scoffed, but his bravado began to crack under the weight of their conviction. Yes, it is, Lucy said boldly, stepping closer, help from Ethan translating into her own confidence. You're the one who is terrified of what we might uncover. But you don't scare us anymore. Ethan felt lightness stirring in him. They were fighting not just for Lucy's future but for each other. They stepped into a shared space where fear began to evaporate, replaced by strength and unity. The man looked back, uncertainty flickering over his features. Ethan seized on it. Stay where you are. We'll take this to the authorities. You won't go unpunished for what you've done. For the first time, their adversary seemed wavering. You think they believe a couple of orphan children? He sneered, trying to regain control. In this town? Absolutely, Ethan countered. Just because you're powerful doesn't mean you're untouchable anymore. Mia recorded while Lucy began to shout snippets of evidence, her voice resonating through the clearing. You're involved with illegal schemes, drug trafficking. People suffered because of you. No. Stop. You're making a mistake. The man began to retreat slightly, and Ethan sensed a shift in the air. With one grand push, Lucy took a courageous step forward. Let us get this right. Today, we stop your game. Ethan could feel the atmosphere shifting, the energy of the moment wrapped around them like an armor. In that instant, the man's facade began to crumble. He realized he was losing control. Enough! He shouted, frantic and unhinged. But the resolve of a united front pressed in on him. Mia, bring it all to light. Post it now. Ethan encouraged, shifting his gaze back to Mia, who was now bubbling with excitement. Ethan watched as she tapped send on her phone. Clear, decisive. The moment felt electric. The man's eyes widened in horror as his secrets lay bare before them. You think this is over? He lunged forward, but the table had suddenly turned. No. Ethan and Lucy shouted in tandem, moving together, forcing the man back. Get back. Mia shouted, bigger than the shadows they stood against, and the warmth of friendship shimmered between them, pushing the darkness back. Police sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Ethan's heart soared as the man's bravado twisted into fear and fury. You've made a grave mistake. He spat, but already he sensed the authority behind them, the forces of justice swelling from the town they had escaped. We're the ones who get to decide our fate, Lucy declared. And you're done. As the police vehicle roared into the clearing, flooding it with light, Ethan shook at the release of tension that had held them captive. They were seen. They mattered. Standing united with Lucy and Mia, The shadows receded with the approach of law enforcement. They had fought through the darkness, together, and emerged stronger. As handcuffs snapped around the man's wrists, he glared at them one last time. "You'll regret this." "What we regret," Ethan countered, his chest swelling with pride, "is not doing it sooner." And as they stepped into the light, the warmth of hope washed over him. Mia leaned against his side, grinning, and Lucy breathed out a sigh of relief. This was only the beginning. They were free, strong, and ready for whatever would come next. "Never doubt it again," Ethan whispered to them, his heart full. "Family is forged in the fight." As dawn pushed through the trees, its rays glowing with promise, he knew they were finally stepping into a new chapter. And that, he realized, was just the beginning of their amazing journey together. Now it's time for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for these transformative tales. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this exciting Ending Your Voice Matters. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Show your love and support. You need to subscribe now. True fans know this is how we grow together.